Hello there. Welcome back to a real spooky guy. Today I'm reviewing Ghost Girl. This animatronic was released in 2012 as a Spirit exclusive made by Gemmy. This is commonly regarded as one of the last good animatronics made by Gemmy because after 2012 they immediately fell off. This, along with the Wicked Witch of the West and probably the Flaming Cauldron Witch, were the last good, creative, fun Gemmy life sizes. And then ever since then, they've been mostly pretty shitty. This one is amazing though. For some reason, a lot of people didn't like this prop. I see a lot of negative comments even to this day on the video for the demo video that Spirit posted, and I never understood why. I think it kind of boils down to a case of people not knowing how to correctly use a prop. Off that topic, she was made once again in 2012. She was in kind of like a room-looking thing with a couple of windows behind her and a try me button on a stand. She retailed for $200, which a lot of people thought was a lot, but when you take into consideration how many mechanisms she has, it's understandable. And the fact that her rising mechanism is also built like a tank, it's pretty understandable. While she's not the most intricate prop, just looking at it static like this, she has some really great movements, in my personal opinion at the very least. I have a hell of a story with this specific animatronic. I got it when I was about 8 years old. It was left over on Spirit Halloween's website, and I saw the demo video and I immediately fell in love with her and I forced my parents to buy her. So when they spent the $250, including all the shipping fees and stuff, because the box is fucking massive for this animatronic because she comes in one piece besides her head, and I loved it. Now, fun fact, this wasn't that one. That was a different one. I have two. The first one, when it came, it was fucked up. Once it rose up, it made a massive click, and then it never went back down all the way. It stayed at like a constant 4 feet for the rest of its life whenever it was down. And along with that, the arm mechanism never once worked. And I don't even think it was a split gear. I think it was just the motor being defective. It wouldn't even try to move. It was really weird. So we contacted Spirit about it, and they were like, yeah, can you send that back? And then my dad was like, no, because, you know, we physically couldn't because she was permanently 4 feet. So they sent me this one for free, which was really nice of them. Funnily enough, at that point, they had already gotten discounted to $180. So I had gotten probably the last one before the discount, which was unfortunate. I have my original Ghost Girl I used for parts. I kind of scrapped her after a while, and then I kind of used her as a practice dummy for repair work since she wasn't really going to work, and then eventually I just kind of parted her out, although I do still have the head. The face is really detailed, and I really like how it looks. You can see that the eyes are like really nice looking, like they're kind of like Seasonal Vision's eyes, because Gemmy and Seasonal Visions now does what Gemmy used to do with their eyes. Her mouth is wide the fuck open. These were weird. Every head was a little different. Like this one looks in 2 different directions, that one doesn't. And also the hair is like really messed up on this one. It's a bad problem. They tend to tangle. Somehow that one hasn't yet, but regardless. This head still works, but it's pretty dinged up. I mean, of course it would still work. There's only one LED in there. But yeah, there was a lot of leftovers of this prop in 2013, because again, for some reason a lot of people didn't like it. There were not really any people who were indifferent about this prop. You either kind of really hated it or you loved it. I was one of the latter, and that's why I have 2 of them. Yeah, she was my first ever Halloween prop. She really got me into collecting, so she's a pretty important piece in my life, and she's still remains to be my only Gemmy life size, unfortunately. But that's not that much of a bad thing because I still love her. A big problem with these was that the gear would split in the arms after like 1 or 2 years. The reason for that is because of the fact that the arm mechanism, it has to move both the arms and both of the fans that inflate the arms. So that's a lot for one mech to move, and that's why the gear would always split so quickly. There's so much pressure on it. Guess what? Mine's gear still works. Somehow, after all these years, the gear on mine is totally fine. But the motor's dying. I don't know how, but before the gear split, the motor is managing to die. The gear is probably starting to split, but it's not completely. It ticks sometimes, but the motor is dying. She'll stop moving her arms halfway through the animation, which, it's sad, but hey, at least she still works other than that. All the LEDs are perfect, everything still perfectly works other than the arm mechanism, which half works. She's sound and motion activated. Her sound sensor, this one was always a lot less sensitive than the broken one. I don't know why the sound sensor in this one was a lot worse. And the motion sensor is right there. They're really bad. I mentioned in the face ripper video that these types of motion sensors are really bad, but especially on Ghost Girl, because typically you see that little cloth right there, usually that covers the motion sensor. So even when it does work, it can't really see much of anything. But yeah, she starts at 3 feet, and then she rises up to 5 feet, and she fucking screams. She has volume control. She's actually not that loud on full volume. Like, she's, I think, a little quieter than Deadlift Zombie right there. But her audio is pretty great. Although it is a bit of an overused screaming track. If you've been in the community for a while, you'll have heard this track, at least part of this track, on other items. Which is fine, it's a good screaming track, and I think it works the best for her because they added a couple more effects. But yeah, I absolutely love this prop. She has been a permanent display piece ever since I got her. She's like one of the only props I've never put in storage. And surprisingly, with how much I've used her over the years, she works perfectly. So I'm going to demonstrate that by activating her. Oh yeah, she doesn't work with a step pad. She only works with a try me button, which is pretty common for older props that aren't made by Techie. Yeah, see, they kind of give out halfway through the animation. You can still forcibly move them, and they'll try to move, but not very well. Also, her track mechanism is a little loud, but it's always sort of been like that. Ghost Girl right here is not a center stage animatronic. Things like Face Ripper or Uncle Charlie, who's currently in, that closet over there. Those are center stage animatronics. Ghost Girl is not. What I mean by a center stage animatronic is a center stage animatronic has to be something that is interesting to look at, interesting to listen to, and also just overall a pretty eye-catching animatronic. That goes at a center of a display. Ghost Girl, or conveniently right next to her Deadlift Zombie, are side animatronics. These are the ones that you'll put next to the center stage. I've learned this over years of displaying my shit, that there's different types of animatronics that are used in different situations. For example, if you have some kind of graveyard theme, like I'm going to this year, right here, the Howler would be very good as a center stage animatronic. He does a lot, he has really interesting movements, he moves a lot, and he's loud. But something like, again, Deadlift Zombie or Guardian of the Grave is a side animatronic. An animatronic that's there for added detail and effect that you can look at after you're done looking at whatever center stage animatronic is there. Those aren't meant to catch your attention. In my personal opinion, that's what Ghost Girl is. She's the very definition of a side animatronic. But a lot of people seem to not quite know how to display their animatronics well and make them effective. Ghost Girl is extremely effective as a side animatronic, especially if you have her in the dark. Considering the fact that every part of her body lights up, yeah, she's a really fun animatronic to put in like a very dark room. Fine, I don't really mind at all. So now I'm gonna turn the lights off and then show her. Right, so now every single one of my lights is off and I can't see. I'm probably gonna trip over the tripod while I'm walking over to the try me button. Well, anyway, here's what she looks like in the dark. Yeah, see, everything is lit up. And now the lights are back on. So yeah, I love this prop a lot. She's very simple but extremely effective. She's not too rare. She's a little uncommon, but they pop up every now and again, and usually they're for a pretty reasonable price. Although you're not going to find one with the arms working at this point because they are so hard to repair. Oh my god. That's what I was trying to do with my other one. I tried to open up the gearbox to see if I could even get to it. Holy shit, I can't. I know there are ways to repair it, but I'm not really going to try until it fully breaks, and even then, I'm not going to try. I'll probably send it to somebody who's better at it, even if I want to get the arms fixed. But regardless, she still works pretty well. Pick one up if you can. They're not too rare. And yeah, thank you for watching this review on Ghost Girl. Her hair's in her eyes most of the time.